You're listening to Change Your POV Podcast, episode 140. Yeah, you need goals, because otherwise, how do you know if you're, achieving anything? You're just doing a whole bunch of stuff, but is it really leading anywhere, right? And so SMART goals helps you do that. So SMART, we'll start with the S, specific. So goal needs to be specific. You can't have a general, and I want to use as many examples as possible, because otherwise people at home listening to this are like, okay, I think I get it, but I don't really quite understand. Change Your POV is dedicated to helping veterans and their families be the best versions of themselves. With this comes growth, success, near misses, and even failures. But we don't let that stop us, and it shouldn't you either. This episode, we talk about setting goals the smart way. You cannot get better or achieve more by just wanting it to be so. It requires work, a lot of it. And it requires you to set goals, so you have something to aim at, something to measure, and a way to know if you've actually made it. We hope you enjoy this last attack episode of 2016, and we hope you have a killer new year. Now, get ready to set some goals, and let us show you how. Hello, folks, and welcome to Change Your POV Podcast. I am your host, Eddie Lazary.
And I'm the unprepared Bennett Tanton.
But you'll figure it out. Today is a special day for many reasons. One, it's an Attack Friday episode that we're releasing on Saturday because it's our last Attack Friday of 2016, and I wanted the opportunity to record this with my said unprepared co-host Bennett Tanton, and he was unavailable this week due to holiday and working, weird schedules, and all that fun stuff, so we did not have a chance to record together this episode. So he's off this morning, so we're on bright and early Saturday morning, the day before. What is this, New Year's Eve, right? We're recording
man.
So we're recording this New Year's Eve early in the morning.
Can you believe that shit?
Both of our families are still tucked away, nice and sleeping, which, to be honest with you, I think is kind of like my favorite time of the day, because it's productive, and it's
freaking quiet.
And it's quiet. Yeah, man. And so it's good. So this is perfect time for us to record. So today we decided we wanted to do an episode about what our goals are for 2017. Now, we've mentioned on the show before that neither one of us are real big, huge believers in
Eddie does.
In the New Year's resolution whole bit. I don't know. That seems like a failed ritual type of thing to me. I don't do it. I don't believe in it. But I do believe in setting goals for what you want to accomplish in the year. And so what we're going to do is we're going to talk about 2 personal goals that we've set for ourselves, and then 2, call it business / podcast / change your POV / warrior hall, whatever, goals that we have. 2 of those personal business goals, call it. So 2 personal goals and 2 business goals each. So by the end of this episode, you're going to get 8 of our goals. But to make this actionable for you, we don't want to just share what our goals are with you, because that doesn't really benefit you a whole lot. But what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the SMART goal methodology of setting goals. And SMART, folks, is an acronym, S-M-A-R-T, and it stands for specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound. And so we're going to talk about that first, and how to set an effective SMART goal. And then, with that methodology in mind, we'll go through and talk about what our goals are. Sound like a plan?
Yeah, no, I'm excited.
Okay. So before we get down too far in that road, I would like to say thanks really quickly to this week's sponsor, Mountain Up. So Mountain Up, its 10th Mountain Apparel, is the premier military clothing and apparel store. And man, these guys are always coming up with new stuff. They've got a new website redesign. They're launching new products. They've got Staff Duty coffee now that they're selling. They've got some other.
Can't even keep up, man.
No, you can't. I don't know where the hell they're coming up with all this.
But I'm really liking how they're just they're staying in the niche,
right?
But literally pulling every little nuance out of it.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
They got what is it, like a beard oil type of thing?
Yeah. Stuff. I mean, and there's other beard oils out there, but I think what it is that stuff you didn't even know that you wanted,
Right.
kind of stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're taking the word apparel and they're stretching that shit wide.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Which is really cool. So it's fun to watch them, and they've got an incredible Facebook page over at Mountain Up. They got 35,000 folks on that page, and they got
basically like a big ass forum.
Yeah, it is. It's a huge forum. People are posting stuff all over the place, videos and just tomfoolery and all kinds of great and wonderful stuff. So folks, if you want to go check it out, head on over to changeyourpov.com/mountain up, and when you're there, use the promo code GOOD10 GOOD to get your 10% off your total purchase at checkout. So again, that's changeyourpov.com/mountain up, and your 10% code is GOOD10. All right, man, let's get into this. SMART goals. How much do you know about this methodology of goal setting, Bennett?
I didn't know anything about it until you brought it up to me.
Like today or before?
Before.
Oh,
which we talked about it earlier this week. But other than that, and not to be a freaking smartass, but it's pretty smart.
Ah, yes, it is. Pun intended.
Yeah.
Yeah, so goals are important to set. However, if you don't have the right methodology or thought process when you're setting a goal, oftentimes those goals become unachievable, unattainable, and you fail at them, and then you get down on yourself, right? And what we're learning I've got to mention, what we're learning in this month's, in January's book of the month, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, we're learning as we're listening to this that it's really not about giving more fucks. It's about giving less fucks, and more importantly, giving the right kind of fucks, right? And if you're
because let's face it, we're inundated with shit all day, every day,
right?
And people really do. I mean, it's basically the premise is giving a fuck about what matters, and not letting the rest of it pollute your body, pollute your mind.
Right.
Period.
And I'm about halfway through that book now, Bennett.
It's freaking awesome book,
dude, it is, man. It's it's one of those, when somebody tells you something that you know to be true, you may not at first, you may not agree with it, or it might sting a little bit.
But you're like, son of a bitch.
But when they're speaking truth to you, you're like, oh, that's truth. That's truth.
And that stings a little because I'm an asshole.
Yes. So
that was half that book to me. I was like, God, this sucks.
Yeah. So listening to that book, I'm like, oh man, I couldn't not listen to it, and I couldn't not agree with it. But man, it was speaking a lot of truth. So I don't want to turn this show into because here's the thing. We
have a whole month to do this.
We do. So we are going to be doing some podcast episodes specifically around the book of the month, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, and we're going to be releasing it. However, here's the catch to that. We are only going to be releasing those special episodes to members of the book club. And we're also going to be doing our very best. No guarantees here, but we're going to be doing our very best to try to reach out to we will reach out, but we there's no guarantees that we can get them on, but we're going to do our best to try to interview the authors of these books for each month. I've already reached out to the author of this book. I haven't heard word back yet. I'll ping him. He's kind of a busy guy, and it's a weird time of year. I get it.
Slightly, but either way, we'll still try.
Yeah, we're still going to try.
And try again.
And if we can get him on, great. If not, then we'll move on, whatever. But this is just a great book, so we're going to talk more about this in a special episode, and we'll be releasing that via email to those that are a member of the book club. And we're also going to be talking about it in depth over in the secret Facebook, or the closed Facebook group that we've created for the book club. And you can actually, is it a secret or closed Facebook group? I think it's
I think it's closed.
I think it's just closed. Yeah, so you can find it.
You know what? We'll have to look though. Actually, I'll look while you talk.
All right, I think it's closed, so you can actually search for it and find it. It's Change Your POV Book Club is what it's called. And again, that's just for the members, and we can get on there and talk about what and think about that. The books that we're picking for this, they're like provocative, like thought provoking, like real books that you can.
No, it's secret.
Is it
So I'm going to
secret?
change that right now.
Yeah. Change that to closed. That'd be good. And at least that way people could find it, right? And they may not be able to see the posts, but they could find it. And all that good stuff. So if you want to be a part of that, folks, there you can go on and check that out. I've created a landing page for it with a little quick video of myself doing a little. I think that was like a recording that I did with my phone just to post in there, and there's some more information. But you can find that at changeyourpov.com/book club, and check that out. And if you want, you can sign up right there. And here's the good news, folks. How much does this cost, Bennett?
Absolutely $0.
FREE. Free. It's free to you. We just,
I mean, you have to buy the book.
Yeah, you got to buy the book.
Oh,
or you have to already have the book or...
But we can't offer you the book at I guess not necessarily discounted, but a expedited way of buying the book.
Yes. You can click on the link over at the book club page, and it'll take you to Amazon, and you can buy it there. And if you got Amazon Prime, you get it like next day or something, right?
Yep. 2 days.
2 days. Okay.
Fast. Freaking fast. Or if you buy the audio version.
Oh, yeah. So if
you get it instantaneously.
Yes. Or if you don't already have an Audible account, you can go to changeyourpov.com/free book, and you can sign up there, and you can get 30-day free trial.
If you haven't done it before, it's free.
Yeah, you get a 30-day free trial and a free audio download, so you can actually download your first book for free.
So I digress. I guess it is free.
Yeah. So so there you go, folks. Come be a part of it, book club. Anyway, so that's what we're talking about when we're talking about giving the right fucks or the right kinds of fucks. Those are references from the book. And if that sounds confusing or negative in any way, trust me, it isn't. It's counterintuitive to what you might believe.
Like, oh man, what are we getting into?
Right.
But no.
Yeah.
No, I just literally one day was like, I texted Eddie, dude, you have to check out this book. Mm-hmm. And there it was. It's freaking insane.
Yeah, man. SMART goals. Let's talk about SMART goals. It's important to have goals, but a lot of times we fail at our goals because we haven't set them up correctly. And there's many different ways of doing this. I find SMART goals to be probably the most beneficial. And I do this not only in my own life, but at work as well. Every year we are... Now, obviously, if you're working in corporate America, you're going to be given some specific goals that you have to meet as part of your performance evaluation or review. However, there's usually a section in there where you set your own goals that you want to accomplish for that year. And so using the SMART goal methodology for your work in corporate, or if you own your own business, if you own your own business, you should probably have some goals set as well, whether they be, physical goals, monetary goals, whatever.
Absolutely. We all need goals.
Yeah, you need goals. Because otherwise, how do you know if you're, achieving anything? You're just doing a whole bunch of stuff, but is it really leading anywhere, right? And so SMART goals helps you do that. So SMART, we'll start with the S, specific. So goal needs to be specific. You can't have a general, here's an example. And I want to use as many examples as possible because otherwise people at home listening to this are like, okay, I think I get it, but I don't really quite understand. So if you have a goal, and let's say your goal is get in better shape. Okay, great, right? But that's not, right? That's not very specific, is it? Because you could sit in your couch and you can, do 5 curls and you're quote unquote getting into better shape because you're now in better shape than you were 5 minutes ago before you did your 5 curls. But is that really what you meant, right? So maybe if you were to take that get into better shape and you were to narrow that down and say, I want to lose 10 pounds. Okay, well, you can't just sit on your ass and lose 10 pounds. You have to actually do something in order to achieve that goal. And by doing something, it implies that you're getting into better shape, right? Because losing weight is a side effect of getting into better shape. And so that's what I mean by getting specific. And the more specific you can get on a goal, the better off you are, because the next one, M, stands for measurable. If you have a goal that's not measurable, so let's say your goal is to get into better shape and you narrow that down and it becomes more specific and it's lose 10 pounds, but you don't own a scale. Well, that's kind of hard, right? It's kind of hard to know if you're heading in the right direction, and it's hard to know if you actually get there. My scale actually broke. I was going to weigh myself the other day, and my scale broke. And I looked at my daughter, and I'm like, the scale's broke. Can I borrow your phone? There's a scale app on there. I want to weigh myself. And she like almost handed me her phone, and then just kind of looked at me and said, wait, that's really stupid. You're not standing on my phone. Anyway, sidetrack. So measurable, having a way to measure your goal, and it could be anything. So if you got a monetary goal, that's an easy one. You find a way to measure your progress. Now, there's a buddy that's in my mastermind.
Pretty much look at your bank account.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you can gamify it, and gamifying things when it comes to measuring is an effective way of doing it. What I mean by that is, like I said, there's a guy in my mastermind group who is trying to pay off the mortgage of his house. And what he's doing is he's got 2 jars on his, I think it's on his fireplace mantle or whatever. He got 2 jars, and one jar is full of like little rocks, like polished stones, right? Mm-hmm. And the other jar next to it is empty. And every time he pays off, I don't know, like $1,000, he takes one of the polished stones out. Now, what he did was he figured out how many thousands of dollars. So each rock was worth $1,000. Let me back up. Each rock is worth $1,000. And let's say his mortgage is $200,000, right? And then he counts out the number of rocks to equal that amount of money worth of mortgage. So that one jar represents the value, the total value or the total cost of the mortgage. And every time he pays off $1,000, he moves one of those rocks over into the other jar. And so now you've got a visual representation of the progress that you're making, and it's measurable. You can literally go out and dump out the rocks in either jar and count them and know how much you've got left and how much you've already done. And it's just a quick, easy way to gamify and to measure it. Because when you're dealing with money, sometimes, because especially nowadays, so much around money isn't physical money anymore, is it? It's all just numbers in a bank account.
Yeah, it's all fictitious.
Yeah, and so it's really kind of hard to look at money from a tangible standpoint. So doing something like that is just a neat way of doing it. Just an idea.
Which is not good, by the way. I'm just putting that out there.
What's that?
That money is not tangible anymore.
Oh, right. Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
But anyway, that's another episode.
Yeah, for sure. And but it does work on the streets of New York City now when you're getting hit up by homeless people for money, as I learned.
I don't carry any cash.
Yeah, so I got hit up by this dude, and he's like, I was like, yeah, man, I would love to give, but all I got is credit card, bro. Sorry.
Do you take Visa?
You take Visa? Right. He pulls out his cell phone with one of those cubes on it.
Could you imagine, dude? Could you imagine?
Oh, my God. I wouldn't,
yeah, man, what's your PayPal account number? What's your email?
Right.
Dude, I'm not even kidding. It's going to happen.
Oh, I'm sure there's people out there that do that. But anyway, getting sidetracked here.
I do have a PayPal account, sir.
Yeah. Like pound sand. All right. A, achievable. Now, this is a little bit. Now, this one here is tough, right? Because people are like, well, what's the point of having a goal if it's not hard to? I mean, kind of a part of a goal is to set something that's a challenge to achieve, right? That's hence a goal. If you set up a goal like, I have a goal to wake up every day this year, like you're gonna do that anyway. That's kind of not a realistic goal, right?
Or I'm gonna be a rock star this year. Like,
right.
I'm gonna put out a platinum record this year.
Right.
Not really, probably, unless you're an awesome recording artist already. Probably not attainable.
Right. So the idea of having a goal is making it achievable. Is it something you can actually do within, the year 2017? And, maybe you've got like 300 pounds you want to lose. You're probably not going to do that in 1 year. If you are, then you're either doing it by surgery or you're definitely not doing it in a healthy fashion, right? So you got to make it achievable. I want to make $1 million. Well, if you're working in a job and you're making $50,000 a year and you want to make $1 million, like I said, you're either doing something illegal, right? I mean, I guess you could. Maybe you could win the lottery, but you know. But I mean, how much of that do you?
It's not like you could go, "Oh, this is totally attainable."
Right. Exactly.
And be honest with yourself.
Exactly. Yes. And then R is realistic. All right. So achievable and realistic, they're similar, but they're different, right? Achievable is a goal that you actually can achieve, right? Like you can't go down to, the farm sale and buy a unicorn. Okay. It's not achievable. Well, I guess,
or even like raise a unicorn, or be a blue dragon.
Raising dragons. So R, realistic. Is your goal realistic? All right. Now, folks, there's nothing wrong with having big dreams and big goals. Don't get me wrong. I believe in having big dreams and big goals, but however, you need to be realistic about it, right?
Yeah. Sometimes you just look and go, "Damn, man."
Yeah, it's like it reminds me every time I read this, being realistic. It's like that show, American Idol, right? Like,
oh my God!
Like how many seasons?
Like the bloopers days.
Yeah, I mean, like literally, how many people have gone on that show and gone to do audition, and they get up there and they start singing,
like that dude, Sex Machine or whatever his name is.
Yeah,
you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, and they
like, dude, no, come on, man.
But these people honestly believe.
Oh yeah, which is kind of like cool. That man, you really believe. Either mom is filling your head full of bullshit.
Yes. Right.
Which isn't necessarily a bad thing either, because like Gary Vee, his mom did the same shit.
Right.
It's basically like, dude, you're the fucking baddest motherfucker on the planet.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But turns out he kind of is.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
In a lot of ways, but I think a good way to put it too, R-wise, isn't necessarily realistic, but it's also very. I mean, let's pull out the thesaurus here. Mm-hmm. I look at the word reasonable as being a little bit more understand. A lot of people will get realistic makes, everyone's like, oh, well, let's be realistic, but reasonable. I mean, there's a couple different R words that you could use, but reasonable is a big one.
I like reasonable. I'm changing it from.
Let's be freaking reasonable.
Yeah,
here.
Let's be reasonable. Yes. You might actually think that you are the best singer in the world, but when you get in front of people that actually do that for a living and know what a good sounding person sounds like, and they tell you no, like you need to come to grips with it.
Maybe you are the best singer in the world.
When
you're by yourself. No, when you're by yourself and you just have other issues to get from point A to point B, like performing in front of somebody.
Maybe.
You might just be totally different.
Yeah, that could be.
Because trust me, there's things like public speaking especially, dude.
Sure, yeah, man. Oh,
you might be a fantastic public speaker in your own mind.
Oh, yeah, I am.
Or in a mirror. You could rattle off that speech like it's nothing. Mm-hmm. And you could videotape it even. I've seen that.
Yeah.
Where people have videoed themselves doing it, and I'm like, dude, that like touched me.
Yeah.
Then I saw them in person, and they're like an idiot. It's serious, because when you get in front of 200 people, 500 people,
you vapor lock.
It's a different game. It's a different game than when you're on video or talking to your family.
Yeah, man.
Whatever. Anyway.
Yep, I get it.
Can't get sidetracked, but yeah, dude.
That's important. And then T is time bound, right? Now, that's just a neat way of saying you got to have a limit, folks. Everyone's familiar with Parkinson's law, right? Parkinson's law states that an activity will fill within the time constraints that you have allowed it. What that means is, if you're in school, for example, and you have a research paper that's due in 3 weeks, it's going to take you 3 weeks to get it done, because you're going to probably work on it a little bit, 3 days before it's due. And then, but it'll take you that full 3 weeks because that's what the amount of time that was allotted for it. However, if you take that same research paper and it's due in 5 days, guess what? You're going to get that research paper done in 5 days. So setting some time parameters around your goal is important. If you have a goal to lose 10 pounds, then let's face it, losing 10 pounds over the course of 5 years, I mean, good on you, but that's really, you're not really doing you're not really achieving a whole lot, are you? Right?
I know not so much Eddie. Eddie's really good at it. I am a fucking procrastinator.
Oh, with goals? In general?
With everything in general.
Oh, well, I'm not as good as you might think I am. I struggle too.
Well, of course, we all struggle, but I am really good at going, okay, well, I do have this goal, but I know that I can complete it in 2 days, but I'm going to give myself 10.
Right.
And then I'll literally, just like you said,
take all 10.
Time bound, time based.
Yep.
I'll wait until the 8th day to start it. And we'll get into that a little bit later, but that's one of the things that I'm really going to work on changing.
Yep.
So
there we go. So now that we have a basis for the construct of these goals, we are using the SMART goal methodology: specific, measurable, achievable, reasonable, and time-bound. Now we're going to get into our 2 personal goals and 2, we'll call them business goals, that we've set for ourselves in 2017. Now, these aren't the only goals. Let's just be clear here. These aren't the only goals that we've set for ourselves, but we wanted to keep this episode relatively under the time limit, and so we decided to settle on 2 and 2 each, which will give you a look into our psyche, if you will, whatever. Look into our 2017 goals. I'll give you 8 examples. So I'll start. So I got 2 personal goals, and the first one is to maintain my weight loss. And for those that have been following along, you know that earlier in 2016, we did what was called a 30-day well-fit challenge and a 60-day well-fit challenge. And in the course of those challenges, learned a lot about myself, learned a lot about getting fit the healthy way and eating clean and paleo and all that good stuff. And I managed to lose 35 pounds. And I felt great, never felt any better. The holiday season started to come, the Thanksgiving and Christmas and food and all this, and just like in that book we mentioned there at the beginning of the show, I decided that, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to eat what I want to eat because I just want to, because I choose to give a bigger fuck about something else. So I lifted my paleo-only diet, and I've gained a couple of pounds back. But I'm just going to say, I'm going to accept it and say, you know what? I'm good with that. I accept it and I'm going to move on. However,
take responsibility for it.
I'm taking responsibility for it. I'm not going to feel bad about it. I'm not going to get pissy on myself about it. I'm just going to, it is what I made a decision. And you know what? I enjoyed eating everything that I wanted to eat over Thanksgiving and Christmas. And so it is what so be it. It is what it is.
Because let me tell you, Fogo de Chao.
Oh, yes,
is
man.
not fucking paleo. Well, I mean, the meat part is.
Yeah.
And the vegetable, I guess it could totally be paleo.
It could
now that you really think about it. But it wasn't. But it was so good.
Yeah,
but
man.
oh, prime example, the sausage sandwich you had the night before that.
Right. Exactly. Yep.
So good, though.
So, yeah.
But you probably wouldn't have eaten, and when are you going to eat wild boar again like that?
Right, exactly.
Probably never. So
hell, I didn't even know.
Sometimes you have to take right. Sometimes you have to take the but you'll remember it now.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You're like, oh yeah, I ate wild boar.
Hell yeah.
Not once I let you know that's what you're eating.
Right.
But sometimes you have to look at things as an experience and justify it that way and lie to yourself.
Yeah, or just accept it. I just accept it.
Exactly. I'm just saying shit. Exactly. Accept it and just make the decision. Pull the fucking trigger.
Yep.
Sometimes you have to do that. Can't live your whole life that way.
Nope.
But sometimes that's what you have to do.
Yep. So I made a decision. I own it. It's mine. I've taken responsibility. And so my goal in 2017 is to maintain my weight loss. Now, granted, folks, I did not gain all 35 pounds back. I only
No.
gained maybe like 3 or 4 back.
Right.
But, I'm going to maintain my weight loss and my health and fitness come the new year. And a lot of people are listening to this saying, "Oh, that's a New Year's resolution." No, not really. It isn't. It's something that I've started way before the New Year's. It's just something that I'm going to continue to maintain into 2017 because
I guess it could be a New Year's. It's, you know what? It's all semantics.
Yeah,
at
it's
this
all
point.
semantics.
It's like whatever,
Yeah.
whatever. Fuck off.
So that's my number one. My number two.
I'm telling you, it's not a fucking thing.
I don't know. I just got this big hang up about New Year's resolutions.
I
for
know,
some
dude.
reason.
So do I. Because you know why? Because they reek of failure.
They do. Yes. I think that's what it is.
They reek of failure, and everyone's like, "Yep, okay, okay, Mr. Man, with your fucking resolution."
Right. Yeah.
Nobody supports your resolution. This is why one of my tips, my actionable tips, tricks, and coachable knowledge: keep your most important resolutions, goals, whatever the hell you want to call them.
Yeah.
Keep them close to your chest, and don't tell a fucking soul.
Yeah.
You know what? Just do it. Shut the fuck up and just do it.
Right. Yeah, man.
Right?
I like that one the best. That's an excellent tip. Yes.
That's because that going into that shit, that's one of my fucking goals. My problem is that I talk about shit way too much. Oh man, I read this new book and this is what I'm going to do, and now I'm going to institute it. Blah 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 blah.
Right.
Like I am, and I'm not going to go into specifics on the actual three. I have 3 goals within the goal, but my big goal that I'm putting out there, right, is to shut up and just do. I'm not going to talk about it. Yeah. I'm just going to do it.
And on that note, February's book, right? Hold On to Your Nuts. That's another book that we read. And I actually implemented some of my nuts recently, and I can't
it's almost like Fight Club.
I can't tell you what that is.
It's kind of like Fight Club, dude.
Kind of is, yeah. So I actually stood my ground with one of my nuts the other night, and it fucking worked.
Right?
It worked.
It's like magic, dude.
I was
it's
like,
holy
fuck.
It's
worked.
almost like magic because you're like, dude, I'm so fucked.
I felt like when it worked, I felt like I was in on a secret that nobody else knew.
Exactly. Isn't it fucking crazy?
And I was like,
yes.
And I felt like,
and everyone's like, what the fuck are they talking about? Yeah. Well, tune in February and find the fuck out. Because I'm telling you, this book will change men. It's a male book.
Yeah. Which
you already put the disclaimer out.
Yeah.
Like 3 episodes ago.
Right.
Men, you must.
Oh my God, yeah.
I'm begging you. You must. You can read it and then go, yeah, they're full of shit. But I'm telling you, no, false.
Yep. This
shit is like magic. It's like fucking, magic. Anyway.
And it's something I won't disclose it on air, but I can talk with you about it offline because
we both have.
Well, because you are a member of my trusted council. So, anyway,
my circle of friends.
Yes. What's the term they use? Indoctrinate. You're an indoctrinated member. Anyway,
of the Lazarus Society.
So it was weird. What's that character on Star Wars where he just swipes his hand and he says,
Luke Skywalker.
His mentor. His mentor, is that Obi-Wan?
These are not the droids. These are not the droids you're looking for.
Yes, yeah. That's what I felt like, dude. Like I swiped my hand.
Oh yeah, it does, dude. And you're like, okay, that really just fucking happened.
It did, dude. I was like, holy fuck. Anyway, okay, so where are we? So number one, maintaining my weight loss to stay fit and eat clean. That's number one. Number two, and I'm putting it out there right here, right now, and I have a goal to speak at a TEDx event in 2017. So that's specific, it's measurable, and I'm taking actions along the way, I've joined a Toastmasters chapter. I have given 3 prepared speeches. I have to give 6 prepared speeches in total between now and March, so I can compete at the local and district level competitions. And all of these little incremental goals along the way are to serve my ultimate goal of speaking at a TEDx event. So that's how I'm measuring that goal. And then it is achievable. I've already applied to a couple of TEDx events locally. And it's reasonable. It's definitely something that is well within my wheelhouse. I just know that there's going to be some practice and some time and effort that needs to get put into it. And of course, it's time bound. These TEDx events, the application process is a hard deadline, and so it's extremely time bound process. If you miss the boat, you got to wait a whole nother year.
Wait till next year.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
and go through the whole process from the beginning.
Mm-hmm. So that is my number 1, my number 2 personal goals. Now, getting into the podcast goals, or I'm calling it podcast / change your POV goals. And I'm going to mention this first time ever right here on the show. I am working to launch what's called Educated Veteran. It's an Educated Veteran. The website, I own it. I'm developing a website right now. It is not live, so if you go and try to look that up, you won't. It'll probably say like coming soon or something like that, but it's educatedveteran.org. I'm launching a podcast. It's going to be a podcast series. What that means is there's going to be a certain number of podcast episodes, and that's it. So it's going to be a limited podcast. I'm building it out as a resource, and it's going to be broken up into 4 modules. And I'm going to be talking about all kinds of things. And I'm broken up into 4 modules because it's 4 phases. So phase 1 or module 1 is those that are in the military or just joined the military and are wanting to know what are different things they can do to prepare themselves for when they get out. So there's a lot of things you can do from the day you join the military. A lot of people wait until they're a few months away from separating before they take action. But there's a lot of things you can do to prepare yourself while you're in order to get out. And so that's phase 1. Phase 2, that's that sweet spot. That's that 12-month period before your ETS date. So call it ETS date minus 12 months. That is what I'm calling Module 2. And so there's a lot of specific things that you could be and should be doing within that period of time to prepare yourself to get out. And then Module 3 or Phase 3, that's basically ETS plus 12 months. That's the first 12 months once you've separated out of the military, things that you should know about and or take advantage of, because there's some things that are available to you within that first 12-month period that goes away, that will no longer become available to you after that 12-month period after you've separated. And so a lot of those things I found out after I was outside that window and I could not take advantage of them, and I was a little disappointed because I just didn't know. And so that's what Module 3 is going to be about. And then Module 4 is basically anything beyond 1 year. So if you've been out for 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, there are things that you can do as a veteran just to be a more successful veteran. And so that's what Module 4 is going to touch on. And so I've broken up each. I'm going to be doing a weekly podcast. Right now, I've planned 12 episodes for each module. So if you do the math, that's what, 12, 40, that's, almost a year's worth of episodes if I do a 1 episode a week. And then there's going to be some additional downloadables, some worksheets, workbooks. Each module is going to come with its own workbook, and it's going to be good stuff. So be on the lookout for that. I don't exactly have... I don't have the launch date, so this is one I'm struggling with the time-bound piece of it. I'm not entirely sure when I'm going to launch it because I'm still developing the content, and I want to have at least all of Module 1 completed and out there before I launch. And then as I'm releasing the first module, I will be building out the second module, and then the third, and then the fourth. So I'm not going to wait until I build the whole thing to launch it, but I am going to at least wait until all of Module 1 is done. So I'm targeting a launch date of somewhere around March. That's the goal I'm giving myself. So there we have it. There is. Oh, that's my first business goal. My second one is to deliver high quality Change Your POV episodes that add as much value as possible. We into 2017, my goal is to have really kick-ass topics, extremely actionable tips, and a value-added benefits like the book club that we've already mentioned, and interviews and the people we bring on and talk about different topics on the show. And in order to do that, in order to deliver the highest quality episodes possible, we've made the decision to cut back the show from 3 episodes a week to 2 episodes a week. So every Monday, you're still going to get Motivation Monday, every Monday. But every week, we're going to rotate. So one week will be the Wednesday show with like either a topic that we cover or an interview with a guest. And then the next week is going to be the Attack Friday, where we share actionable tips, tricks, and coachable knowledge. And then the following week will be the interview, and then the following week, et cetera, et cetera. You get the idea. And we're going to alternate that way. But we're focusing on quality versus quantity, because 2016, we really kind of just ramped it up. I mean, from the time we started to the time we ended, we just kept adding and adding and adding and adding. And I think it was good. It was good for several different reasons. One, we wanted to see, in order, like I work in manufacturing, right? I used to be a manufacturing supervisor, and a lot of the things that we used to discuss was capacity, throughput and capacity. And in order to really understand what your true capacity is, you have to crank up the throughput higher and higher and higher and higher until you reach a breaking point. And then once you've reached that breaking point, then you dial it back just a little bit, and that becomes your maximum capacity. But you don't know what that is until you turn it up high enough to actually start having fallout or failure, or things start to break a little bit. And so that's kind of what we did in 2016 with Change Your POV. We kept adding and adding and adding and doing and doing and doing, and we got to the point where it became unsustainable due to schedules, due to other things that we've got planned and going on. And so we decided to cut back just a little bit, and that should be our optimum tempo for our throughput, through our capacity for Change Your POV podcast. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
All right. So those are my 4. So I'm going to turn it over to Bennett, and he's going to share with us his.
All right. So my personal are really, there's 2 that really jump out at me, and this is why. One of them goes hand in hand with what we just talked about with the professional, Eddie's second professional one. And it's for me personally to be able to say no. I've been at beyond maximum capacity in my personal life and my professional for probably 2 years now. And it's all because I just haven't been able to say no. Or you could also equate it to the book of the month this month. This is what's really slapped me in the face with it, was actually reading this book. Mm-hmm. And it's just because I've been giving a fuck about stuff that doesn't necessarily mean anything to me. It's kind of been other people. Mm-hmm. Because I've either been trying to help them or help them attain their goals, and I haven't been focusing on me. So my goal, though, is to attain what I want. I can do that by saying no, because then I get my time back to do what I need to do, right? Mm-hmm. And it's an art. A lot of people don't know how to say no. And then they wonder why they have no time to do anything.
That's right.
That's my number 1, is learning and actually saying no to certain things. Professionally, personally, that whole thing. The second one is just taking action. And now what I mean by that is specifically, because let's go by the SMART model, right?
Mm-hmm.
Specifically, my goal, I kind of touched on it when we were talking earlier, is really not procrastinating, not, God, it's such a big, it seems so big, but yet it's really simple. And it's basically really focusing on doing what I say I'm going to do and not putting it off.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of times, I mean, even with projects for us, I'll be like, yeah, I've got an attack episode that I'm going to do solo. And then I wait till the last minute to do it when I literally had the time to do it before.
Mm-hmm.
I just needed time to, I don't know, be fucking lazy, do something with the kids. I didn't say no to somebody. In turn, it's impacting our business, my life. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
The second one is truly stop talking and start doing. And I'm trying to put a tangible thing on that. And I guess I have to go. It doesn't really fit the SMART model to an extent. But it really is something that has to happen in my life.
So there's a tip that I would like to share with you, Bennett, and
Okay.
I'm going to do it right here on the show. There was a member of my mastermind group that just recently recommended an app for the phone, and the app is called One Big Thing. It's free.
Yeah.
It's a free app, and here's the thing about this app. It's so simple. It's stupid. It's one of those, like, it's a stupid simple app that, like, has such a huge benefit. And the way it works is you download the app, and then there's basically two screens. There's a today screen and a tomorrow screen.
Yep.
And on today, you click on add the one big thing you want to get done today. That's it, just the one big thing. And then down below, there's three smaller things that are like, okay, what else might you be able to get done today? Just ideas. Those aren't real hard commitments. They're just like, if you get that one big thing done today and you've got time, what else would you like to maybe do? And then you can, there's spots for three of those, but you can add more than three if you want. But it's one of those things where you start adding more and more and more. Like, what's the point, right?
Yeah.
So I limit myself to the one big thing, and I add I maybe fill in those three, but I don't go beyond those three. And then I go over to tomorrow, and then I always fill in tomorrow's one big thing today. I don't wait until tomorrow to fill out. Obviously, tomorrow turns in today, right? So I don't fill out today's today. I always fill out tomorrow's the day before. And I'll fill out at least the one big thing for tomorrow, and I'll leave the three little things blank, because the three little things, they usually pop up during the day. During the day.
They're fly off the cuff kind of thing.
Yeah, and so this is a tool I think that you could use in terms of taking action, stop talking and start doing, is, carve out 5 minutes with yourself every evening before you go to sleep and look at tomorrow and think to yourself, what's the one big thing that if I don't get done, I'm going to consider that to be a failure of a day, right? Or whatever. Maybe that's too harsh. Maybe it isn't. Fuck it. And you fill that out, and you leave the three small things alone. And then the next day you wake up, you already know what you're going to do to take action, and you don't have to talk about it. You don't have to share it. You don't have to. It's really, you're not accountable to anyone but yourself. And It's just an easy way. And then at the end of the day, you can look at it and say, did I get this one big thing done? Because if you complete it, you can click a button that says done. And if you don't complete it, then then you didn't complete it.
I mean, it's really good analogy. And this is a simple way to measure what I'm about to say. Say, I have that app downloaded already because you sent it to me, 2 days ago, I think?
Yeah.
So, and I've already, because I wasn't going to bring it up, but I've already resigned myself to the fact that I'm going to use it, because it's a way for me to measure this type of analogy. Is we have a bucket that's ourselves, right? And every day we fill that bucket, and we kind of choose whether or not our bucket's going to overflow or not. So we can fill our bucket this is basically a tool to help fill our bucket and control that overflow.
Mm-hmm.
You know, big items take up more space than little items do, right?
Right.
But this way, at least we have a plan on how to deal with that, not letting the water end up sloshing out of your freaking bucket.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And then that's when you lose it. And you're either yelling at your kids about dumb shit, or you're arguing with your wife about dumb shit. Stuff like that. So, anyway.
Yeah, man.
It sounds very basic, but this is something that I struggle with is, you know, prioritization. You can call it whatever you want. But yeah, so that's one of my, those are my two big things. And they do really go hand in hand, but they're so damn big that it's kind of, even though they are kind of one big thing, they're two specific things. And, you know, saying no, and also just doing what you say you're going to do on a daily basis.
Yep.
Instead of putting it off.
Yep.
All right.
And you almost need to, with every new opportunity that comes your way, you almost need to have a default no. And let me bring this up really quick. And so I used to interview a lot of people for positions in a company, right? And here's something that a lot of people don't know, folks. Hiring managers or recruiters, HR representatives, whoever sits and is responsible for bringing on new talent into a company, our default is always no. We start out the interview with a no. We talk to you on the phone and we have no in our head. We've already made up our mind that we are not hiring you for the position. That's our default, is no. Throughout the course of the phone interview or the in-person interview, or even reading through your resume, we are looking for opportunities for you to change that no slightly from a maybe to a yes. But we never start out, any good, effective hiring manager never starts out with a yes and is looking for reasons to say no. We always start out with a no and we look for reasons to say yes. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
And
totally.
It's backward. A lot of people think that good, effective hiring managers do it the other way around. Just like, you know, have you ever sat in a college class and the professor says, everybody starts out with an A 100%, and it's up to you to keep it. And if you do your work, on and on, right? Everybody starts out with 100%. With hiring managers, that's a failed recipe. You always start out with zero, with no. And you always look for reasons to say yes. And if you never find that reason to say yes, then that candidate just doesn't move forward in the hiring process. So I think you need to look at things that way. And it's hard because you are a caring guy that wants to be there for everyone, and you want to be known as the guy that anybody can come to for anything at any time. And by having a default no, there's a part of you that feels like that you would be betraying that side of you. You know what I mean?
I know, because I know it to be true. But and trust me, I used to be that guy that literally said no. Mm-hmm. That was my default to fucking everything. Mm. And over the past 5 years, that's changed.
Right.
But it just needs to be used more judicious.
Yeah.
And I kind of have to look at, I just need to be more analytic with it and really understand before I say yes, to really look at the whole picture. Mm-hmm. And you know what? It's not hard to do.
Right.
You just have to do it. So anyway.
Yeah, man. Cool. Like it.
The two personals, professional. The first one is I am undertaking a huge project, and that is starting with Warrior Hall. It's starting what right now has the name of Warrior Gardens, which is just part of Warrior Hall. And Warrior Gardens is basically going to be, I'm playing on the Veterans Healing Farm concept and really trying to impact the veteran community in the greater Syracuse area to get into eating healthier and also more self-sustainable and helping themselves and their families grow their own food, and just be healthier in general. So I'm starting this Warrior Gardens, and I've already got it all planned out. I've got it written out. I've got this really cool planning program on my computer that's got even what and where I'm planting. And I'm just doing it, we're starting off with a 1/4 acre garden.
Wow.
Which is big. But I've already got all the seeds. I've already got, I don't technically have them. Like, I got a shipment yesterday because I got a couple different seed companies to donate some seeds. Mm-hmm. I've got a bunch of shrubs, fruit like blackberries, blueberries, huckleberries, gooseberries, lots of berries. Mm-hmm. And I've already got these. I've got them at cost from a company. I don't have them yet. They'll be delivered this spring, but I'm just going forward with that. So, and along with that, they get to come out and kind of like pick their own, help tend the garden or the farm or whatever you want to call it. And then, we're going to try and get it to a point where I would like to, I think we're going to start out with that every other Sunday, having like a potluck, and everybody brings something and we help build and just basically start building a community of veterans and their families, not just veterans. Right. So often we just focus on the veteran. Mm-hmm. But most veterans, not most, but a lot of veterans have a better half. Even if they don't have a significant other, they probably have kids. Right. And maybe, dad's got the kids this weekend. Well, bring them on over. You can play with my kids and other kids that are veterans' kids, because there's kids that have issues because their parents have issues. Mm-hmm. And maybe it gets to a point where the kids become friends and they get each other because, you always see military kids have a tendency to stick together. Mm-hmm. So anyway, we're just trying to promote a veteran community through this whole process.
Yeah, man. That's awesome.
So anyway, so that's one big goal. It's pretty damn giant. But it's going to happen. I mean, it's being well received, and execution wise, we'll see once it's instituted, but I'm not stopping. If your ass has to drive from New Hampshire every other Sunday, then that's what's going to happen.
There you go. Go drive 4 hours to pick my berries.
That's right. And some cucumbers.
Hell yeah, man.
All right. So you're fucked. Sorry. And then the second one is you kind of stole my thunder with the TEDx thing, but and that is a goal of mine. It's just not like one of my top two. Just isn't. Mm-hmm. I played that game last year, 2 years ago. Yeah. And failed because of other extenuating circumstances like moving. Yeah. But either way, I know that I can do that, but I don't think I'll have time this year. Maybe. But again, it's about saying no a little bit. Mm-hmm. But what I'm really focused on is giving at least one for the first half of the year and one for the second half of the year, at least 2 transition workshops in person, to whether it's, veterans that have recently gotten out, or it can be anybody that needs help with their transition. Yep. But I want to go from beginning to end and really focus on transition. Right. You know what I mean? Yeah, man. And what you need to have and do to be successful. Not the bullshit, but what really works. Yep.
I like
And
it.
I think you and I have really narrowed that down.
Yeah.
And this is one of the problems I think we have with the taps and saps and all the other bullshit apps and things, or even well intended transition seminars, right? There's just too much bullshit
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
that really doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
And if you really, it might matter to somebody, but this is the point: is the first thing that we have to do is have everyone do a real good self assessment.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that I, with Warrior Hall, have found a tool. I haven't talked to you about this,
Ooh.
but we will. I think I've found a. It's kind of like what's the name of the?
Like the disc profile?
Yeah, it's kind of like one of those personality profile things.
Yeah.
But this one's like on another level, man.
Mm.
And it's one that you've never heard of.
Okay.
And you've done them all.
Yeah.
I've done most of them. But this is a new one. So either way, it's a tool.
Does it involve waterboarding in any way?
No.
Ah, damn it.
But
Okay.
I guess we could make it waterboarding. Actually, I would rather just put a motherfucker in the pool because that's where you separate the men from the boys.
Hell yeah, man.
All right. That's in my military career. I learned you want to freaking weed out the tough guys, put their ass in a pool. Then
Yeah.
we'll see what happens. People will be like, "Oh, well, that's not our normal habitat." Bitch, if I'm gonna torture your ass, I'm putting you in a pool,
Yeah.
and we're gonna see how badass you are. Then I will have you screaming for your mama.
Nice.
Anyway. I don't know why we just went off on that tangent, but anyway, it's adds spice and entertainment. So what it is, it's basically getting that self-assessment, which is truly unique to everyone, right? And focusing more on the individual than checking the block on, oh, well, I gave them all this information.
Right.
It's up to them what they do with it. And this is part of the problem. So it's a matter of doing transition coupled with mentorship.
Yep. Yeah, man.
And that's what I want to offer. So it's not just about giving the fucking class and guys going, yeah, well, that's bullshit. I don't need that. That's bullshit. I don't need that. And then the next thing you know, out of an entire day's worth of shit, they only took 3 nuggets away because they were never addressed personally.
Right. Yep.
And that's what has to happen. And I know that that's a tall order. But you know what? If I can help 10 guys, I'd rather give a transition seminar that's effective to 10 guys than do 1,000.
That's right.
That's not as effective because it's the same goals that we have with Change Your POV.
Right.
More bang for your buck, more value, more what was the word? What's the fucking word? Grab your thesaurus.
More what?
What was the word that we used for why we're going to 2 episodes?
Oh,
Let's offer more.
Yeah, it's quality over quantity.
Yeah, that's it. Fuck.
Woo!
Another cup of coffee.
Wow, man.
Quality over quantity.
Yeah, man.
That's really what it's about.
Yep.
I mean, these are guys and gals that have fought for our country, spilled blood. I mean, we talked directly to you guys on this podcast, and I really want to help them individually. And unfortunately, that's, I think, something that's seriously lacking.
Yeah.
And that's really where the change. So for me, professionally, I want to do at least 2.
Yeah, man. I'm there. I'm with you on those for sure.
Right. So, and if it's only one guy,
Or
then
whatever.
guess what? That guy gets a shit ton of value.
Well, and that's the thing too, right? So here sometimes we talk a lot about different things on the show, and we've gone and done things, networking events. I've given some workshops at local university, and a lot of times we just don't get any feedback. I mean, we do have, downloads increasing and things like that, but for the most part, nobody's really like sending us an email or reaching out and saying, hey man, this has really been beneficial. Help me out. Right. So a lot of I don't know about you, but for me, there's been a lot of times where I'm like, I almost second guess myself. Like, is what we do, is what we're doing, like, even, is it even really mattering to anyone? You know what I mean? Like, that's sometimes I think that, like, what the hell are we,
Yeah.
is this even doing anything? And then it was 2 days ago on my way to work. My son is home from college, and he's working at an office in the same town that I work in, that he interned for this summer, and they offered him to come back over his winter break to make some cash, which is cool. And so we stopped at a gas station. Now we work about an hour away from home, but we stopped at a gas station about 20 minutes away from our house to fill up before we continued the rest of our way, and to grab a nice coffee, of course. And I'm sitting there and I'm filling up, and this
No apple fritters.
no negative, no apple fritters. So we were at a Cumbies, but no apple fritters. And so I'm filling up the car, and he's in the store getting us the coffees, and this truck pulls up and parks, on the next pump over, and the dude gets out, and he kind of looks at me, kind of tilts his head, like, gives me this weird, puzzled, like, I know you look, right? And I'm sure I'm looking at him the same way, like the squinty-eyed, head tilted, like, I know you look. And he looks at me, he goes, Eddie? And I'm like, yes. And he's like,
why, yeah.
He's like, dude, do you remember me? And I'm like, yes. Like, in the back of my head, I'm like, shit, he looks familiar, but I couldn't play. You ever, like, you know somebody, but you can't place them?
Dude, I have no idea.
Like, I'm running through my head, like, Vets Rock, no, like, like, where the hell do I know this guy from? And he was just like, and then it clicked. He was like, oh, the networking event. So he was actually one of the students that went through my first workshop when I did the 2-day converting military experience into civilian terminology.
Right.
And he also attended the networking workshop that I gave. And so he did the networking workshop with me, and then went into the networking event. And he goes, man, I just wanted to tell you that I ended up landing a job out of that networking event that we did that night. I'm like, no shit. And he goes, yeah, man. There was a guy that came. He was the representative for his company. He's like a president, I think, of some company in a town about 35, 40 minutes away. Army veteran, and he was an alum of the university that we were at. And we just started talking, and ended up, connecting with him after. Took your recommendation to reach out and connect with him afterwards, and floated him my resume. And next thing you know, like, yeah, I start in like a week. I'm like, holy, that's awesome. So he's like, yeah, man. And I started talking to this operator dude, SF guy. He's been out for a while, and he's been struggling, and he's been telling me different things about how he's lost, 4 or 5 of his guys, and he's telling me that he's struggling with finding purpose. And he goes, the whole time he was talking to me, the only person I kept thinking about was you. And I'm like, man, I got to get him your information. So I'm like, yeah, man. I was like, do you have any more of my cards? And he's like, yeah. I was like, well, when are you going to see him again? He goes, I'm going to see him next week. I was like, dude, seriously, reach out. When you see him next week, give him my information, tell him to look me up. And so it was just if I wouldn't have run into him that morning pumping gas, I would have never have gotten that feedback. I would have never known that this dude. You know what I mean? So I know what we're doing. I mean, it was a nice validation, I guess. Sometimes you just need your parking validated. Just
every once in a while you do, and luckily we get that. Yeah. Once in a while.
Yeah.
I've got at least 2 similar stories. Where if I didn't get them, I was like, man, like I was just feeling like, am I just spinning my wheels here?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I know. I mean, he still got the job, and I'm sure there's other people that went that night that probably benefited in some way as well. And there's been a lot of people out there even listening to this show that I know have been able to take some of the information that we've gotten and applied it to their life and found some use and utility from it. I know for a fact. It's just because they're not reaching out and letting us know, we don't know. But so all I'm saying is what we have to offer and the value that we bring to the table, it's there whether we know about it or are aware of it or not. And so because of that, that's why we have to continue.
Yeah, for sure. Amen.
So very cool. little bit of a longer episode, but that's cool, man.
It's the last Attack episode of the year.
It is. Last Attack of the year. 2016 is now in the books. Thank you, folks. You are what makes this possible. I really do appreciate all.
So really, the Attack part of this entire episode is the smart.
Is the smart, correct. Yeah.
All right. So I just want to reiterate that at the end.
Yep.
Not our bullshit ranting.
Specific, measurable, achievable, reasonable, and time-bound. So go out there, folks, and set some smart goals for yourself for 2017, and try to make some personal goals and some professional goals as well, because you want to. And maybe they're relationship goals. Maybe it doesn't matter. But there's many different facets to our lives other than work and personal. So it's good to have goals for all the different facets in our life. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, folks, so that will do it for this episode and for 2016. I hope you enjoyed it as much as we have. Come and be a part of our community over at Change Your POV Squad. We love to hear from you and get any kind of feedback that you may have.
Help, any kind of feedback.
That's right.
No.
So never miss an episode. Hit subscribe on your podcast player of choice. We have a lot more great content headed your way. Until next time.